All right, welcome back, guys. My next guest, this is going to be a fun one. We met in Cannes, and it's been a long time getting her in the seat here. She has a new puppy that eats everything in her home. She has a 7-year-old daughter who is her North Star personally and professionally, which I can't wait to dig deep into that. She's passionate about advocating for putting women into positions of leadership, especially in the advertising and healthcare industry. Global President, Health IPG Mediabrands, Melissa Gordon-Ring. Good to see you.
Hi, nice to see you too. And I'm sorry that it takes so long. It took so long to get here, but I'm excited to
Good.
be here and chatting with you today. And I love hearing when someone tells me about my fun facts. I'm like, yes, that's true. That's
Yeah, that's
100% true. They should
wait.
be
So
right.
right. Yeah, they're yours. What? And we've had some bizarre ones, but this is a new puppy. That's a bold move. What kind of dog do you have?
She is a mini golden doodle. Her name is
Ah,
Rosie, but I call her Rosalita
neat.
or Rosalita the San Francisco Treata. I make up like 1,000 different names, as I'm sure all animal owners do. But I joked if I wasn't having more children, then I was going to get a puppy. And we finally got, I say we, because my daughter and I, the 7-year-old, finally got my husband on board. And she's been with us for 6 months now, which is crazy. But
Yeah, that's brave. Very brave. Does she have different names for different personalities? Like when she's tearing up your favorite pair of shoes, is she Rosalita or?
I've been calling her Fluffernutter. I and this is
Yep.
insane because she's obsessed with our furry blankets. I might have a few furry
Uh,
blankets in my house, like 7, and I just at least and so she's just been going at them, and I'm like, "Yeah, so I guess maybe she's a Fluffernutter because she's definitely likes the
Fluffernutter.
fluffy things, and she's nutty when she does it." But, I'm open to adding more,
Love it.
nicknames.
Yeah, just personality to the activity and a negative
100%,
activity. So yeah, we're getting
100%.
deep here.
That's right.
So I love this because, and our listeners know, not to blow your mind, I just blew your PR person, as well as mine, but we have 13-year-old triplets and then a little guy. So I love when people are so, yeah, exactly. Deep breath,
Mhm.
everybody.
Oh, it's
But
okay.
I love when people talk about their kids, and I love, like, this made me so happy. I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a great conversation. But, obviously kids personally mean a lot to you, but from a professional standpoint, like, how is she your North Star there?
I say every day, Zoe is the best thing I've ever done. She is smart and kind and empathetic and curious and fun. Um, and truly like the thing I'm most excited about in the morning and the saddest thing to leave at night when I go to bed.
Oh, that's
Um, I just I feel so lucky and grateful. I think a lot of us have had different types of roads to parenthood. She was, I mean, and I'm grateful that the road that I took led me to her. Some bumps along the way. But more importantly, she's my destination. And I'm incredibly grateful that I get to call her mom, mine. And my favorite thing is when people are like, Zoe's mom. And I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm Zoe's
it's me.
mom. And I'm also a bonus mom, which I'm also grateful for. My husband
Mhm.
was married before, and I have 2 bonus daughters. And I think bonus is a really important term to
I
use
love
because
that.
I had step parents. I have a stepdad too, and it evokes like Disney kind of danger and like
Mhm.
meanness. But bonus is just like more people that get to be in your life and get to love you, and they're 24 and 21.
That's
So
amazing. Yeah, and it's important and we're going to jump into your career, but it's important that you have something. So I love that she's your North Star and your bonus family is, because I think oftentimes, especially in the world we live in today, people kind of get like sidetracked, like what's most important in my life, and to have that in your case North Star that you're constantly going back to, it gives you a purpose, it gives you meaning, and it makes you really look at things in life and kind of like, oh, is that really that big of a deal in the grand scheme of life? So yeah.
That is very meaningful to me on so many levels, and it's 100% true. I also, I talk freely about the fact that I don't sacrifice anything for her.
Yeah.
Like, I will take that red eye, I will race home and get that train and walk home in heels because I forgot to pack flats to be there for her Girl Scout meeting on Tuesday night, which is the one that she led. And because my job tends to be a little nutty, my husband is her Girl Scout leader.
Oh, awesome.
So, she just wanted me to be there, and I was like, "I gotta be on the 354," and that's not negotiable for me. And knowing that she is aware of that too is is what keeps me going as well. So I think I'm doing something right. I try. You
Oh,
never
you are.
know, obviously, but I do the best that I can. And I also want to set a good example for her and my bonus daughters, that I can do all the things,
Yep.
um, and
I
to laugh along the way.
That's huge. I won't go into depth, but I started a whole speaking series that I do professionally because of this. Exactly, people like yourself that are like, you don't have to sacrifice one to do the other. So so you've been in the ad industry for nearly 30 years, and yeah,
25.
well, I'm
26.
yeah,
Don't
I'm 20.
overage me. Doesn't matter. I
Yeah,
own it, but like,
yeah, you're no, and look, you have your jazzy shirt on, so you're here. But
here.
the same idea. You obviously are a phenomenal mom, and
Thank
and you
you.
put a lot of thought into that. The very brief moment that I've known you, and we've talked about this, but what from the career side of things, what initially drove you into the ad industry, and what's kept you here for so long?
So it's really interesting, and I love kind of telling the stories that I actually started in finance. I worked
Oh well,
on the 84th floor of the World Trade Center when I graduated college. I'm like, I don't know if you know this story. I'm looking at Isabel.
yeah,
Um, I double majored in politics and economics and went into like finance, and I hated it. I
Mm,
absolutely hated it. It was miserable on every single level. And I remember going to my parents because I was still living at home at the time to say, like, I don't want to do this. And my mom being
mm,
like, no, this is a good job. And this is, you have an excellent salary and save all your money and do all the things that moms are supposed to tell you to do. And I went to get career counseling and I took all like the tests, like the personalities and the Myers-Briggs and the interest inventory. And it said that I shouldn't be doing what I was doing. And I literally got the printouts and I went home and I like showed the bar graphs to my mom. And I was like, see, this science is telling me that this isn't what
I
I'm
love
supposed
this.
to be
Yeah,
doing. And I went to the actual library and I started to do research on what was a different field that would allow me to use analytics and math because I love math. I always joke like numbers don't lie, and to be creative because I knew I didn't want to do the same thing every day. And I actually found media and was so incredibly excited about it. I went to, got my first job, and the rest really is history. I'm grateful to have been uh, start to been surrounded by health,
mhm,
in everything that I've done and all the journeys that I've taken and the business that I've worked on. Almost 90% of my career has been in health. And it's just, I'm happy that I've made the connections and built the skill set and the appreciation and understanding for what it is that we do and get to do on a daily basis. But I've done all the thing. I've worn all the hats. I've done planning, strategy, investment. Gosh, I talk about data now, things I never thought I'd be talking about. But it's been quite a journey, and I'm really happy to that it's led me here to where I am and doing the role that I currently sit within.
yeah, and it's having seen you speak on stage multiple times, like definitely a good idea to have gotten out of finance because you're one of those people that is so passionate about what they
Oh,
do.
thank
And
you.
so healthcare as a specialty is important, obviously, in your role, but why is it a passion of yours? Like what drove you to that?
You know what's interesting? I've been talking about this a lot more recently too. I like getting up and feeling like I'm doing something that has some type of positive impact in the world. I think the other thing too is the more that we age, like different things become more important to you. And I want to be able to say to my daughter as well, like when mommy's not home, mommy's talking to people about different types of products that make people feel better. Or
Mhm.
I'm having conversations about health equity, or I'm talking about female leadership because I want her to be brave and strong and solve her own problems, which is something we say every day in my house. Um, I also love that people who work in healthcare are proud.
Yep.
And, they've all had different journeys or paths to get there. And healthcare can mean anything these days. It's just about solutions and control and options that make you feel better, not even just like on a cellular level. Obviously, I work in a bunch of different and all of the categories from oncology to rare disease to, I mean, gosh, I mean, you name it. But I also love the ability that working in healthcare gives me to continue to learn Like I'm always learning about new things. The science right now behind the utilization and the harnessing of AI to help create and develop new therapies is allowing us to build therapeutics drugs faster, reach people faster. And to me, that's amazing. That's what you want, right? Because when you don't feel well, you know that something's, you're suffering with something. You want to know you have an option. You want to be able to move swiftly and with confidence. So the fact that I can keep learning and pushing and asking questions, because I think within healthcare as well, there's always an appetite for the why. And I'm a chatty person, so it gives me the chance to do that.
Yeah, and I agree with you, especially I'm almost to nauseum, like very health conscious person. And so kind of the question for you is the industry has significantly changed, but also the consumer in so many ways, even people that like myself or yourself that aren't necessarily sick at a specific moment in time or have a health issue, but the new consumer is very, very engaged with what works for them. Like I'm a bit of a psychopath. I wake up at 4:30, do a cold plunge, go do a hit workout. I'm big into red light therapy. So even
I love red
before,
light therapy.
yeah. So even before an issue even happens, like how much easier? Well, it actually probably not easier. It's probably more difficult, but it makes your job even more difficult in the sense that you really have to be educated up on how do I advertise and market towards a very knowledgeable consumer base. And maybe I'm the small percent.
Well, it's interesting, right? You're an N of one, but there really is a spectrum as we think about how people and consumers and patients and doctors are all kind of dealing with or addressing their health, right? So whether that is someone like you who is heavily involved, probably doing research, you're waking up, you're making time for fitness every day, you're drinking at least 8 glasses of water. I'm just making things up. You've got an aura ring.
You're
I'm
spot on.
imagining like all of the things who are doing all of the research and spending the time to understand how they can look deeper into their own health and make positive choices. That's one end of the spectrum. There's the other end of the spectrum where that proliferation and that ability to know more can be really scary, right?
Mhm.
Like data, we know like there's so much information out there and it can be overload, it can be overwhelming, almost like analysis paralysis in certain situations. And sometimes there's somewhere in that happy middle of people who want to know more, want to know they have access to more to understand if they want to. So it becomes a balance of, I want people who can distill this information for me in a way that I can understand is meaningful to, I want to know and ask the question so I can make the best choices when I'm ready to make those choices.
Mhm.
So it's really trying to understand, and to me, our ability to use data for good and understanding our audiences and the things that are most important to them. Um, that's why you want to meet them. You want to meet them in the moments that matter, the moments that are most significant for them, because everyone talks about a health journey. There's no straight road.
Yeah.
It's like a zigzag, and it could look like a matchbook car race thing. I'm
Mhm.
totally like mutilating whatever.
Bowl of spaghetti. I get you.
Right, a
Yeah.
bowl. Oh, I like that, a bowl of spaghetti. It totally looks like a bowl of spaghetti. Some
Yeah.
people it's not, it's more like a ziti, but sometimes it's a bowl of like linguine. Um, but more importantly, it's like, how do we find different moments and the right content to do it credibly so that people understand that when the information that they want is out there and it's not scary, it makes it easier for
Yeah.
them. I think the more interesting thing on my side more recently too is some of the research that we've done at Mediabrands with media trials around a few things. One, understanding what messages people want to hear um, within the health world, within the different channels. Does someone in the doctor's office want to hear a different message than when they're watching something on their Instagram? Yes, they
Mm.
do. It makes sense, but we haven't asked those questions. Comes back to a questions piece. Like, let's ask all the questions. Why not try to understand? And there's a limitless amount of work to be done to better understand and be prepared.
Yeah, and having those human connections are extremely important. Maybe because I just assumed everybody knows what IPG media brands are, maybe give us like a very high level what you guys do. I know our company works significantly with the agency partners. I know you and I have had a conversation about Farron Brown and how amazing,
Uh-huh.
and she's actually a friend and been on the podcast as well. But maybe give our listeners a high level what you guys do and the importance of your role within the agency.
Happy to. You're right. We live in a little bit of a bubble, in this advertising world. But the way that I describe this, or what it is that I do to friends, to family, to people on the street, no, just kidding, to anyone who talks to me, is I sit in a role that allows me to have oversight. Across all the health businesses we have within Media Brands. We work with some of the largest health clients in the world, and we partner with them in a number of different ways. The at the forefront is really about their media and their advertising. Where and why and when we are giving and serving people an advertising for our products. And for what reason? So we also work to understand the strategy. Who is the right person that we should be talking to with our advertising? So a lot of it comes back to true like human understanding,
Hmm.
and then finding those moments that become the most valuable to them about teaching them about options for their health. We also partner with clients around data and analytics and what it means to measure success. And what are the levers, the leading indicators, the lagging indicators, the levers to be able to pull to drive business goals. We wear a lot of different hats. And then my passion projects are the ones that really talk about research and having a platform to say, how do we, through some proprietary research, answer some questions that we're all asking and make us all smarter. In the center, too, some of the other things that we do is we build best practices and tools that are specific to health, create groups for bringing together talent and thinking and knowledge sharing so that we all become smarter. But more importantly, really trying to understand that the impact that we have can be measurable, can make a difference, and it keeps changing.
Yeah.
So we can keep, pushing ourselves to learn and to empower ourselves to think about what the future could look like, not just for today, but within the healthcare world. It's always what's next. What's in the pipeline? What's in the pipeline? And I mean, I think that could be the name of another podcast, the
I was
pipeline.
about to
We
say, I
talk
feel like
about
you
health.
just, yeah, you just started your own podcast.
I mean,
I'll help
apparently
you.
I am starting my own podcast. I'm not. I don't have time, but you never know.
Yeah, I think you'd be fantastic at it. But no, I
Thank
think
you.
we spoke. I spoke with your team during Disruption Day, and I think and we are Lamar as a company, our competitors, Outfront, Clear Channel, we've all kind of been tapping into the space, but it it didn't ring true to me until I was speaking at Disruption Day and having offline conversations with a lot of folks in the room, and it blew my mind because most agencies, obviously, you come in, okay, you handle CPG brand XYZ. Here's the budget, here's the KPIs. And most people know what the product is. And for me to start to think about, from the health conscious consumer perspective and just health in general, I'm like, how does Farron, we'll use an example, know so much about, I won't say the brand's name, but so much about that specific brand. And then just more importantly, in the media ecosystem that he's evolved, where in the past it was just it was simple, right? It was TV, radio,
Mhm.
newspaper, and then maybe some out of home. And today you were kind of going down this path. So, the question is really like, you're hitting people at different moments, whether it's emotional, personal, maybe sometimes it's a difficult scenario,
Yep.
but you have all these different media platforms that you can talk and engage in a consumer in a very thoughtful manner. Like that becomes very perplexing. But what you guys provide to the agencies internally on the education side, like my friend Farron, she's just like, oh, it's so amazing, so easy because we're constantly being educated on why this brand, what's the importance here, where do we meet the consumer, and then to your point, backed by data. But how do you guys stay just like on top of it? Like it's just wild to me.
The speed of change has never been faster.
Mhm.
And that is like the understatement of the century. I think when we think about when I think about the advertising world that I joined when I moved from finance, and it goes back to those core media channels and flow charts. And
Mhm.
I still have think about my first boss and mentor who didn't even have his own computer. And I was like, what do you mean you didn't have your own computer? It was all about, you had to just use these books to learn and compute and find formulas for things. Um, I think we continue to evolve, obviously. The reality is that we have to be able to teach on a continuous basis. And I think the people that are most passionate and successful in this industry too are not afraid of that.
Right.
Right. So I think it's twofold. It's having the mentality to continue to want to learn and not be afraid of that, but having that additional connectivity of understanding of what the future looks like. And it's reading and learning and asking questions, but working at organizations that also invest in the tools
Mhm.
that allow us to create different types of products and mechanisms that can tell us what the right mix is going to be. So taking that data and understanding where are people, who's the right person, and where are they spending their time, and where are they spending their most time, and understanding that through the lens of being efficient, because we always want to be efficient for our clients.
Right.
It's using, technology to create and power tools and platforms that can help us, but we have to be inquisitive. We have to go to all the things like the CESs and the cans and the South by Southwest and hear and learn about new product. Um, and the speed, as I said earlier, is mind-blowing at what the future looks like. I wanna make sure that we get people and continue to inspire and get people excited about that, because what I can say is the speed of change is not going to
Yeah.
stop. It's only going to accelerate. Um, and I'm excited as to where the industry will go, but more importantly, we think about this now shift on the incredible reliance on technology and AI. I'm excited about where and how the humanity in all of it
Yes.
continues to shine a light through all of that. So,
Yeah, so that's a perfect leading question into like consumers become more skeptical of things, right? It's like,
mhm.
oh, here's another pharma commercial or here's another CPG product that's pushed my way. The skeptical side of people, I think the speed kind of panics some people, but also you have consumers that are very in tune and very in line. So now you don't just have the brand that's moving at the speed of light, but you also have media moving at the speed of light, evolving. Like, what's going to be the next TikTok? What's going to be the next Meta? But then on top of it, you have these major complications, positive, negative, that are occurring in the world, and
Yep.
you guys are just like beautifully just kind of juggling this all together. But like,
You
how do
make it
you?
sound very graceful.
No, I feel like, yeah. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, it's like total chaos. But it comes out to the consumer as like, oh wow, like that was thoughtful. It hit me at the right place, right time, and it really meant something to me. How do you guys get past that, like, overwhelming feeling of a consumer that's interacted with your brand, your ad for the first time, for the third time, for the eighth time?
I love that question. I think because it really comes down to the truth of what it is that we do is really just try to give people more information. And it's also some of the research that we've done separately around what types of formats are most valuable. And I'm still looking at things through the lens of health. Like
Mm,
where are we think about farm ads, they can be a bit overwhelming, right? We've seen that in the research. There's tons of information. Some of it sounds pretty scary. And when we're thinking about different tactics and channels and more kind of lean forward in terms of video that I can engage with on my phone or my computer, patients and doctors want things that are simpler. They
yep.
want to
Mhm.
to be able to tap into the ability to go quickly and look for more information versus tons and tons and tons of content. So that it's in itself is, I think a key learning is that we need to kind of meet everyone where they are. But when it comes to what's working, we know what's working and what's not working. We can tell who's seen our ad, who's engaged with our ad, if it's moving the business. And patients and physicians, because we work across all of the healthcare landscape, they know what they want, and there's so much choice that if they don't want to engage with our content, then they don't, and we have to learn from that, right? There's a learning from every failure. Um, Either way, we've learned something, and we work with incredible clients who not just partner with us, but challenge us to come up with new strategies and tactics to better understand. But it's also about that honesty and trust. You want to work with clients and partners that deliver on that too, because it is sacred. What we do is sacred. I think that also differentiates us from different categories and verticals.
Yeah, and you're not having people have to go look up a beverage brand, but the what you're saying is that transparency is earned through trust and, really you guys are simplifying the complexities of very clear, this is what it is, consumer, this is why this is important to you, and this is the product.
It's interesting because everything is a relationship, right? And
Mhm.
I say this all the time, trust is built in increments and taken away in one fell swoop. Everything is a relationship. We have a relationship, we're friends now. I have a
Mhm.
relationship with my clients. I have a relationship with my team. We, as consumers, have relationships with our brands, right?
Right.
So it's
Mhm.
all about how I cultivate that relationship, how I lean into or invest in that relationship, how I learn from that relationship. All of that comes back to what it is that we do. How can I do better? What can I pivot to? What does the future look like? How can I help you with what you want to be able to achieve? It's really that understanding on a human level too that comes back to a relationship.
Yeah, and
Doesn't
for our
have to be
list
transactional. So,
r
or just
yeah,
transactional.
literally just what I was about to say out of my
Mhm.
mouth. Like, for our listeners that aren't in the agency space, like, that is the most powerful thing you wanna hear, and it's having heard you speak multiple times, like, it's not just transactional. Like, it would be so easy for you as an agency just to act and just get transactions like, "Hey, we saw more script lift, we did our job, thank you, renew our partnership." But the reality of it is, you know, as you'd mentioned early, like you have a passion for this and it shows. And I think that thoughtfulness beyond, not just yourself, but the teams underneath you, that they feel that and they want to be a part of something. Other folks on the agency side that we work with within IPG, it's same conversations. It's like they know the brand, they feel empathetic towards the physicians. I have a lot of friends that are doctors. I educate them on why media is so important to them, and they're like,
Yeah.
yes. Like they don't have time to do 600 pitches on why this product is best for them, but how do they empower and that's what you guys do great. How do they empower the consumer to come in to already meet them halfway there? On top of it, I know you guys are also helping sell through the sales force that's trying to sell the product within. So you're almost like a three-pronged approach. And I would assume that the holy grail is when me as a consumer comes in, I'm well educated, that product was already sold to the physician and the physician's
Mhm.
like, "Let me tell you about this product." And that consumer is like, "Ah, yes, I've done my research. It was very simple and easy. This is my understanding." Did I just give the holy grail?
No, well, the Holy Grail is then are they covered for it?
Right. Yeah.
How much is it going to cost them?
Yes. Mhm.
What are the side effects? There's
Mhm.
lots of pieces. It's more like a 19 prong, which would be like the scariest outlet in the world. But nonetheless, those are the really most important pieces, right?
Yes.
We think
Mhm.
about priming our audience. That's like a fundamental advertising concept. And I laugh because when you talked about physicians saying that they really enjoy this or need this, that's part of another research that we did was that actually doctors really like pharmaceutical advertising. It
Yes.
helps them do their job better. And when we look at data behind what a physician's day looks like now, versus like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, they have no time
None.
whatsoever. They're not sitting with reps and dedicating hours to learn about new therapies. They're using each other. They're using other products and platforms now as like a separate doctor in the room to help them make these decisions. So when we think about the value of time, physicians' time is incredibly valuable. And if we can help educate, even if it's just awareness or exposure, amazing. It's a win.
Yeah. Shout out to all my doctor friends, Benji Walton, who I can't ever get lunch with because he's so overwhelmed with
Yeah,
this. So
he's busy. I can tell
yeah.
you, he's very busy. I don't know him,
So
but I'm telling you, yes.
yeah, he is. Yeah. He also, like me, has multiple kids. So his life is chaotic as well, like all of us. So healthcare marketing, that it's even more regulated. We won't go into depth into it, but how the slow to adoption to new channels, like you guys have to also do your research on media as well, making
Mhm.
sure that it fits all the constraints. How do you guys adopt and where do you see the biggest innovation today moving forward? Like AI, I know is massive for this.
I think it's testing and learning. There's no question that pilots are the thing that we lean into the most. Sometimes you joke you're like building the plane when you're flying it, but
Mhm.
that's because you have to continue to push and drive innovation, new channels, but more importantly, new content and new forms of content, right?
Mm.
Um, we do live within a world of greater regulation and hurdles in terms of the way that we can communicate our messaging, to ensure that there is that piece of fair balance and that people understand those risks. But it still has to be done in a way that um, patients, physicians can understand. And we have to keep pushing. And it's funny, people used to think that pharma wasn't so innovative. And I'm like, actually, pharma is a lot more innovative than
Yes.
most categories, because
Mhm.
I can't just say I want to make this message, make this ad, and just throw it on any channel. We have to be more strategic. We have to be more creative in order to build something or a construct that can get approved, because we have 7 different layers of approvals to get things done. So we have to work even more strategically and be more innovative. And we have to continue to push that. Even if it's tactics that seem, more straightforward, like search, right?
Mhm.
Search, the evolution of search is incredibly different than it was a year ago, as we think about where search queries are shifting from traditional search engines straight to some of the AI platforms. How are we doing that? How are we following this? Pharmaceuticals aren't advertising there yet. What happens when we're advertising to actual agents? Like, there's just so many questions. But we have to keep trying and testing and learning and falling down and getting back up, and bringing our clients along with us on that journey to get there.
What advice would you give to all the different media owners, whether old school, traditional, like out of home, to I love that you're talking about AI chat. ChatGPT is the only thing my kids use. Like, I don't even think they realize Google is a search engine. They think Google
Right.
is the home, Google Home that they talk to. Sometimes get answers for their homework, just
Mhm.
forbidden. But what advice would you give to media owners, old and new?
Be fearless.
Mhm.
Be fearless and persistent. Um, don't be afraid of change. And if you are, like, pick yourself up and just keep moving.
Yeah.
Um, I also would say, like, continue to invest in diversity of thought and talent and technology and platform, and learn, learn, learn.
Yep. It's powerful. How, jumping over to like tech, and we've talked a lot about like the speed of the world that we live in, but how is your team kind of preparing for the next wave of like health tech? Like, are you looking into like future? You'd mentioned or a ring, I have a Whoop that I've had
Uh-huh.
for from day one. How how are you guys preparing towards the future of technology, the future of healthcare, and what you guys do?
It's so interesting because we are working with our clients to also understand the impact of that for patients and physicians and for their business, right? The impact for patients is, if I know more about how you can talk about a consumer, like a continuous glucose monitor, right?
Mm.
Whether that's understanding your levels for diabetes or how you process sugar as an athlete, all this information can be meaningless unless you know what to do with it, right?
Mm.
So it's understanding the power of the technology and how it can be harnessed for good. So we work with clients to really understand what type of technology can help us, not just better understand our clients, but understand our patients, but help them make better and more informed decisions, whether that's greater connectivity to physicians' offices and electronic health records, or even the technology, excuse me, for telemedicine that now allows people to speak with a physician no matter where they are, which is so incredible when we think about the like rural communities where it could take 50 miles to get to the closest doctor or specialist. So how we look at the technology that powers better sharing of information, better understanding, and better access in a way that is understandable is how we want to have the conversations with our clients. Everyone's interested in the new thing. I mean, I get excited about CES because the Consumer Electronics Show, the
Oh,
health,
it's wild. Yeah.
I can't even say like area or section. It's like now they're taking over this entire area. And
Yes.
that to me is so exciting, right?
Yes.
You think
Mhm.
about it, used to be a few things, X number of years ago. And now health is literally taking over, and it's incredible. whether that connects to your Google Home device or your Alexa or any of the other connected devices that are out there will be introduced shortly. Um, Health is also interwoven into all technology. Think about it. There's going to be health interwoven into, automotive technology,
Mhm.
into lighting technology. When we think about robotics, there's all different things. I was at Health HLTH, which is a conference that took place in Vegas in October, uh, where I was just blown away about the kind of optimism and excitement around health and health technology, even in a world where we're dealing with a lot of uncertainty when it comes to kind of our industry, and that's where I will leave that.
Okay.
But some of the technology, which I thought was incredible around robotics, was a pet that was basically like a regular pet to be a companion to anyone who needs, a reminder, needs someone to engage with, be more physical with, or companions for people who are older and want to stay in their homes and don't want to go into, a senior type community or facility or assisted living. The ability for us to, like, once again, it's harnessing that technology in service of something that is making someone's life better and healthier and can take their diagnostics in a simple and easy way that's non-invasive and it can go straight to their doctor's office and remind them when they need to take their medication or remind them when they need to make their next appointment. It's incredible. And it should like sing at like a high pitched tune when all of it's working together the right way. We're not there yet,
Okay.
but the possibilities are endless.
Without a doubt. And I think I will do the gospel with you as well because nothing I love more than just being in tune because each one of us are significantly different. Like we may there may be an audience segmentation that looks, acts, and behaves a certain way. In
Yep.
your world, it's a lot more detailed. But at the end of the day, especially when it comes to health, like we're all different and we're all the way our bodies ingest certain foods and the impacts. I tell my doctor, my physician all the time, I'm like, if I could just like download my Whoop data directly to your medical platform and then you just tell me, like I'm with you. Like I want that world. And
It's
then
happening.
I know, yeah. That's exciting. But I guess the skepticism there is just like, hey, I don't want to be like sold something because it's an ad. Like I want it to be true and meaningful. And I think that that's the work that you guys do. Um, it
We
is
try.
truly, yeah, you're not just storytelling. So let me, as we're kind of see this like flew by. I knew this was going to be so much fun with you. But as it relates to that question, you and I both getting excited about healthcare and advertising to consumers. Like how do you keep inspiring your teams, understanding that it's not just an ad buy, it's not just this, but you're truly going to impact people's lives on a very personal level. Like you're representing a brand that can save someone's life. You're representing a brand that can truly, in some situations get someone that's is immobile to all of a sudden now they're on their feet, they're moving about. That just has just this butterfly effect on their lives. Like, how do you inspire your teams that, like, hey guys, this is much bigger than just this moment?
I say a few things. One, I've said this many times, is that what we get to do is actually help people feel a little bit more in control of something they don't have control of, right? And the sense of optionality or knowing that they have choices, um, to someone who may be diagnosed with something or has a loved one that's diagnosed with something or have been experiencing something their whole life and is looking for a new treatment. Knowing that there are options gives people a greater sense of control, which is one of the scariest things is when we don't have control. What feeling out of control is pretty scary. I'm talking just even personally. So if we can give someone a greater sense of control, I think we're doing our job. I also laugh because whenever I bring my leaders together, I'm just a positive person anyway. Um, I laugh. I'm like, I have rainbows and unicorns and stuff all over the place in my world. Not in the office I'm sitting in today, but in my home office, I do. But I always say thank you. And I think when you start from a place of gratitude and appreciation, I say thank you. Thank you for what you do every day. Some days are easier than other days, but it matters. And I joke because I had a meeting earlier today and my leaders know because it's like not, they joke it's almost like a sign off, like I'm saying goodnight with the evening news. But it's
Yeah.
like, I say thank you for what you do every day because it matters.
Yeah.
Whether it's just it matters because it's time that's away from your family or your friends or the things that you prioritize elsewhere, but it matters because we're doing something that's trying to help people. We are trying to. We don't always get to, but we try. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's extremely powerful. I love that. And definitely I could see you just like with rainbows and riding off on a unicorn after the meeting without a doubt.
I mean,
What
she's outside.
Yeah, just waiting to like wrap it up. It's time. Well, last couple of minutes here. We kind of discussed it in the opening moment. You're really big into empowering women. Obviously, you having a daughter, you being as successful as you are throughout your career. What what advice would you give your younger self entering into the industry, and then how do you just build the team around you, not just women, but empowering men around younger women, bringing them up and really giving them the opportunity that maybe years ago it, that opportunity didn't exist.
So I love this question because if I had a chance to go back and talk to Melissa, it makes me think of like RuPaul's Drag Race. And then he brings out the
Mm,
picture of the person when they were a little boy and they're like, what would
yep, yep,
Jimmy say? What would you say to Jimmy? If
yep.
I had a picture of Melissa, who was in her early 20s and apologized for everything, I would say, stop apologizing for everything.
Mm.
Your thoughts are powerful and meaningful, and it matters. I spent a significant amount of time not really embracing my gifts, and worrying too much about what other people thought about me, and I don't care anymore. So, I mean, I care about what people who I love and matter to me think about me, but I really care less about others who might think or feel differently, and I care more about standing up for the things that I believe in and being true to myself and setting a good example. I think the second part of your question, um, remind me. I apologize because I'm like trying to build
Oh no,
on it
you're
in
good.
a
It,
positive
what
way.
it, uh, Other women around you, and
The
even
other women
even
around me.
men.
I lift up everyone.
Yep.
I mean, I joke. I'm like, I feel like I've been a mother even before I was ever a mother.
Hmm.
I just want to help everyone and give them the psychological safety, which are also two words that I think are important, uh, to talk and feel empowered, um, to ask for what they want. Because sometimes we don't do that. And when I would say that to the young Melissa as well, like, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. What's the worst
Yep.
thing? They're going to say no.
Yep.
But also bring your team and your tribe along with you on the journey. Make sure you're clear about what it is that you want to achieve and understand what they want to achieve so you can help them. I say to my leaders that I work with, how can I help you? What can I do to support you so that you can do what you need to do better? And making sure people on your team know that they have someone in your corner and building that trust. Um, and ensuring that it's actually heard, like, and listening in a way that feels palpable, um, so that there is that psychological safety. And then people are like, I actually, you know, I'm not sure if I should ask this question. I'm always like, well, then you absolutely should ask that question,
100%. Yeah.
100%. So, I think about the people that I have worked with, and I try to learn something new from everybody that I work with. It's not always easy. Sometimes you learn how to act and sometimes how not to act,
How
which
not
I think
to?
is
Yeah.
just as important. Um, but I think the biggest thing is bringing people along with you on the journey, and saying thank you. That's the last thing. That's what I'll say with thank you.
Yeah.
Being appreciative. Always say thank you. It takes like a second. It means so much.
Yeah.
So,
This is it. I could talk to you for hours about this. And just as I picked you off on the stage and went to say hi to the three or four people that were on stage, I was like, this woman has the most energy and just
oh,
seems so
thank you.
passionate.
Thank
So yeah,
you.
so I think that's the perfect, accumulation of this whole conversation is just like you actually very much care about what you do. There's so many people that I personally know that work underneath you in the different agencies within IPG that were like, yes, she is all the things that
Oh,
you
thank
have
you.
taught. Yeah, but I think it comes with having a role and being empathetic, but also wanting to have that personal connection. You know, I talk about it all the time. Like if you're at the top, it's very lonely. But if you reach up, just like you said, like you bring your tribe along, like you're going to be so much more successful in your career. And more importantly, you're going to bring a whole bunch of people that are behind you to leave that powerful legacy. Not that you're done, but just saying you're keep going, right?
Oh,
So
yes, I'm gonna keep going.
love that. Well, listen, this has been such a treat. I know our listeners are going to enjoy this. And
Oh,
again,
thanks. I hope so.
most importantly, like love, 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 love how your daughter means the world to you. She's your North Star. I think having purpose in what you do in your journey is the most powerful thing we can do as humans. And then you being such a iconic woman that has had a great career, like having your daughter look up to you and all the men and women that you work around and have been around. I think that this is going to be a special podcast. So I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. It really means a lot. I'm glad that our paths have crossed, and I'm excited to be able to talk about some of the things that matter most to me. And I hope it resonates because we have one big, bold, beautiful life, so you
Yep.
gotta make it count. So I'm trying.
Huge. I love it. Well, go jump on that unicorn
She's
and
waiting. She's right
ride
outside.
off into
Mhm.
the rainbow sunset.
To my
Thank you, my
next
friend.
call.
To your
Awesome.
next call. Yeah, exactly. Nowhere fun. So
Great. All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Bye.